life often works in very unexpected ways. It's highly counterintuitive. We would think that by avoiding pain, this is actually how to overcome it. Logically, it makes sense. If I have pain and I avoid it, therefore no more pain. But the actual experience of life is quite different. Our avoidance of pain comes back around to hurt far more. So the actual solution is to embrace pain so that you can overcome it. You can learn about it. You can see it clearly. Because if we continuously avoid pain, we're just going to be avoiding aspects of ourself that are unconscious, that are subconscious. And this is going to dictate the outcomes that we're actually getting in our life. This is going to dictate our goals. This is going to dictate our relationships. This is going to dictate our health. This is going to dictate how we live in our career, how we act in our career, what we actually do. So I want to look at some ways that we're presently escaping emotions. We're escaping pain. And two very good places to look are in the workplace and in entertainment. And these seem to be two very common things that basically everyone does. Everyone entertains themselves and everyone works for a living. So we'll start with entertainment. When you look at the underlying emotions that drive us to entertain ourselves, it's usually boredom, anger, sadness, feeling numb, dull, feeling kind of foggy in your mind. It's not really coming from deep awareness, from deep emotional connection, from a drive to grow and develop yourself into the best human being you can actually be. No, it's usually from quite the opposite. There's nothing wrong with entertainment. There's nothing wrong with watching a movie. A lot of movies are fantastic works of art. The problem is the underlying emotions that drive us to pursue entertainment. We would think that if I'm bored and I entertain myself, then I will not be bored, right? That's sort of the logic, but life doesn't really work that way. When we're bored and we entertain ourselves, we usually feel even more numb, even more distracted, and overall just even more foggier. The problem with avoiding yourself is that you will not go anywhere your whole life, right? You're going to be here until you die. Your emotions will be here until you die. The beliefs that control your behaviors will be here until you die. And if you avoid that for your whole life, if you don't do any serious introspection, then the results you're going to get in your life and the kind of life that you're going to live is going to be mediocre. It's going to be pretty unfulfilling because you haven't looked at the underlying systems that are driving your behavior. You haven't looked at your own subconscious mind and your unconscious parts and how that actually affects your whole life. Most of the things you do are very unconscious or subconscious, really unconscious and subconscious. So once again, nothing wrong with entertainment. Just look at the underlying emotions that are driving your behavior. Look at the underlying beliefs. Look at the pattern of avoidance towards your emotions. We have boredom. We want to escape it, so we entertain. And another good place is the workplace. See, we value productivity. We value getting our goals met. We value getting to some future place where our problems are solved and now we're fulfilled, now we feel better, but that never really happens. Once we get to that place, we want to get to the next place because we haven't trained our minds to actually love reality as it is. We haven't trained our minds to be grateful with what we have. If you want $1 million, the second you get that $1 million, you're not going to know what to do. You're probably just going to want the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing. You'll never actually be able to fully enjoy the things that you actually have because that's a skill you have to develop. Gratitude is a skill you have to develop. So in the workplace, it seems like we value output. We want to do more hours, more work. We want to make more money. And there's nothing wrong with being productive, wanting to make more money and anything like that. The problem is the underlying emotions that drive that behavior. It's typically feelings of lack, feelings of fear, feelings of just not enough. There's never enough. We have to do more so then we can finally have what we want and there's finally enough. And logically, you would think that that would work. If we don't have enough and we feel like there's not enough, if we have that feeling and we do more to get more, then we will not have the feeling of lack, right? That's the logical sort of path that we seem to be following, but life doesn't really work that way. Once again, that feeling of lack is an emotion stored deep down inside of you, and it's reinforced by certain beliefs you have that you aren't even aware of, and that keeps you running on that treadmill, not really getting anywhere. So once again, no problem with any of this stuff. No problem with entertainment, no problem with work, no problem with goals, right? The only problem is that we are avoiding ourselves and we are constantly trying to escape reality. We're trying to run away from the present moment. It's like deep down, we have a deep fear and insecurity of just embracing reality as it is. We have a major fear, like a terror of just being present and seeing what the present moment actually is, just feeling it, remaining in our senses. We seem to just avoid this at all costs. We escape into television, we escape into work, we escape into literally anything that can possibly distract us from the present moment, anything that can get our attention away from the present. And this doesn't feel very good. This usually just leads to a mediocre, unfulfilling life, because all of those beliefs, all those emotions, all those instincts that are always controlling you, they don't go anywhere. They're going to be there your whole life. If you leave them unaddressed, what's going to happen? You're going to be 20 years old doing the same stuff that leaves you unfulfilled. 10 years will go by, you'll be 30, you'll be doing the same stuff. 40, the same stuff. 50, the same stuff. So if you don't seriously introspect, how do you actually expect to make some serious positive changes? How do you actually expect to enjoy life to the fullest when you aren't training your mind to actually love life exactly as it is? If you're not training your mind to love reality exactly as it is, you're screwed, right? Because there's only reality as it is. There's only this present experience. And if you're trying to always get away from it, when are you ever going to learn to actually enjoy it, to just sit with it, not need to change it, not need to manipulate it, not need to add to it or subtract from it? When are you going to learn just to sit here and just be with it? That's it, the simplicity of it. There's nothing else to do. Just to sit here in a state of pure presence, being in your body, actively feeling, remaining in connection with yourself, and that's literally it. And surprisingly, that feels amazing. That feels absolutely fantastic. Personally, that's my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is literally to sit down and just bask in the beauty of the present moment. Just sit in my own awareness and just feel the sense of awe that comes with that, the sense of fullness that comes with that, because the present moment is so magnificent. We're just taking it for granted. The present moment is the most extraordinary thing that exists, and we're just constantly trying to escape it. You have no idea what any of this stuff is. You have no idea what this moment is. What is this moment made out of? What is an experience made out of? What is your consciousness made out of? You're clueless about the nature of all of the things that are happening around you. For every answer, there's 1,000 more questions that come with it. Okay, the present moment's made out of atoms. Okay, what's that made out of? What's that made out of? What's that made out of? Which is made out of what? So really, there's a deep sense of mystery that comes with embracing the present moment. There's a deep sense of mystery that comes with not needing to change it. There's a deep sense of mystery that comes with not needing to impose your beliefs onto the present moment. There's a deep sense of love that also arises just out of sitting with it and just not needing to manipulate it. It's literally that simple. We're always in a state of needing to manipulate reality in order to get something that we want. Just look at your everyday actions. You wake up, you're brushing your teeth, you're changing things, you're moving things around to constantly serve your survival, to get some kind of goal. And there's nothing wrong, there's nothing bad about that, right? I do it too. I wake up, I get food, I brush my teeth. Yeah, it's important. But there's more to life than just survival. There's more to life than just fulfilling your basic needs and then entertainment, right? There's self-actualization and there's self-transcendence. These are real things. These are actual needs, and without them, you're going to live a pretty mediocre life. Without them, you're going to be mentally and emotionally sick. So take introspection seriously. Start feeling into the emotions that actually drive your behavior. Don't just live life passively. Don't just live life acting unconsciously. Actually apply awareness to yourself. Apply awareness to all of your decisions. Why are you eating the foods that you're eating? Are you eating them because they're actually going to give you a lot of energy and they're healthy for you? Or are you eating them because they just taste good and they're going to give you a quick hit of stimulation, and then you're going to be just kind of declining right after you get that hit of stimulation? Right? So if you apply awareness to your life, you're going to actually learn how to change it in the most radical and meaningful ways, right? And it's super counterintuitive. We would think that by accepting reality as it is, we're going to become lazy. We're not going to know how to make positive change because we just accept it as it is. But counterintuitively, this gives us the freedom and the non-reactivity to make the changes necessary so that we can live healthier lives. It's super counterintuitive. It's super twisted. You'd think that by accepting reality, by loving it as it is, you're going to be a dumb hippie who's unproductive and stupid, but it ends up being quite the opposite. You become highly self-aware, far more intelligent, far more in touch with yourself, far more conscious of the nature of existence, and far more in tune with reality. Whereas the opposite is, of course, trying to escape it. And from that comes a lack of internal harmony, a bunch of misinformed beliefs, and basically a lot of repressed emotions and pain. So the point of this video is just to begin to point out some of the underlying dynamics that really have massive impacts on your life. The underlying beliefs you have, the underlying emotions that you feel when you're doing certain things, and the underlying instincts that are constantly controlling your behavior. And the thing is you're not very aware of any of this stuff. It's all happening at that subconscious and unconscious level. You just feel the sense of lack, you feel the sense of anxiety, you feel the sense of boredom, and then you look for the nearest escape possible. And it's all just a subconscious system just happening spontaneously. Anxiety arises, and the impulse to avoid arises with it, right? And you're just stuck in that pattern until you begin to apply awareness to it and increase acceptance of the present moment. Acceptance builds non-reactivity, and from a non-reactive state, you can very quickly see the dysfunctions in your own life and begin to adjust them so that you live a far smoother and healthier life that just feels in sync with the natural flow to reality. It feels like it's in a sense of like greater harmony with everything going on around it. It doesn't feel so isolated. It doesn't feel so disconnected. Things don't feel so separate from one another. Everything feels like it's highly in tune with everything else. So that's it for this video. You can book a free call with me. Links in the description. I have 2 spots available. Take it easy.